The word philosophy is derived from Greek. Philo means love and Sophia means wisdom, and this eventually means the love of wisdom. Well, the first philosophers can be said that were sophists and maybe Stoics in the ancient Greek, but the modern understanding of philosophy started with Socrates, who was a very eminent person in his era. Well, but he was poisoned to death by the government as he was believed to corrupt the youth. Well, his student Plato continued his views, and we can say that he developed them, and he wrote a book named Republic. It was about an ideal state. Well, Aristotle, who came after Plato and was a student of him, had different approach to philosophy. He had very distinct views than Plato and eventual Socrates. Also, he developed an ideal state in his book, The Politics. Well, they had very distinct views about, for example, justice, about the role of women in the society. And in this video, we will talk about these differences and maybe analyze and interpret them and delve into it as much as possible.
These two great philosophers are in very strict disagreements between each other. There are many issues which they disagree. One of them is about a concept of justice. Plato and his student, his friend Aristotle, have different views about justice. In Plato, we see that this concept has a vital role in his ideal state. He constructed his design, he constructed his ideal state upon the concept of justice. As we know from Republic, Socrates make a dialogue between Thrasymachus and Glaucon, and their dialogue about justice is a result of understanding in the ideal state's justice. I mean that the ideal state, the whole Republic, the whole Republic book is based upon the concept of justice. In Plato's ideal state, we see that harmony is justice. His concept about classes is very relevant to justice. When we look at Aristotle, yes, we also see that Aristotle gives a very high priority to justice, and but we see that, distinct from Plato, we see that this is also a telos. This is also something to reach, a mean, actually. The difference between Plato and Aristotle is about actually method. Aristotle, yes, he sees justice is very important for polity, his ideal construction, his ideal state, but it is not an absolute, it is not a very vital place in his ideal state. In my view, Aristotle's point of view is more relevant to today's circumstances, because we see in Plato's conceptualization it is so utopical, it is strictly foreseen that a class division, a strict class division, which has no place in contemporary world. But when we look at Aristotle, his concept of justice is relevant to plurality, is relevant to people's comprehensions, people's participations, and it is also so nearly to our democratic, to our pluralistic today's conditions.
Plato and Aristotle, two of the most influential philosophers in the ancient world, both had radical views on the nature and capabilities of women. Plato in the Republic argues that women should be able to take on the same social roles equally with men in his ideal state. His main argument is that given the same training, education, and opportunities, suitable women could be equally suited to the position of guardian or any other roles in the state as their male counterparts. His ideas are based upon the view that women and men have the same nature, because he claims that the soul is essentially sexless, that it was external influences that cultivated and educated the soul, not the sex of the body that determined the roles. However, many thinkers may object to Plato by implying his own statement: women are physically weaker than men. Yet, he does not see this fact as a sufficient reason to prevent women from being trained or to have education to have the same role as men. On the contrary, just one generation later from Plato, Aristotle returns women to their traditional roles in the home, being subservient to men. There is no equality in nature for Aristotle, and in the politics, he declares that as regards the sexes, the male is by nature superior and the female is inferior, the male ruler and the female subject, and the same must necessarily apply to all mankind. So it can be easily seen that Aristotle gives no chance to women to be to have education or training or any other opportunities in the state, because he thinks that this fact is caused by the nature of women, which is inferior to men. So Plato seems to have really influential ideas, which forms a basement for today's perspective of feminism. And when the time and the place that he lived got concerned, he actually did a great job.
Plato emphasized the extreme unity in his ideal state, and this extreme unity includes common ownership. In this concept, Plato abolishes the private property, especially to the guardians and the auxiliaries, and he also abolishes classical type of the family. According to him, men shall have no wife or no children of their own, but in common. Because he thinks that there will be no emotional obstacle to men doing their tasks that are related to the state. So it will lead to more unity and fewer disharmonies. On the other hand, Aristotle's family concept differs completely from Plato's. According to him, family has indispensable importance in his ideal state, because he is aware of the weakness in the common ownership. Related to this, he says everybody is inclined to neglect something which he expects another to fulfill. He emphasizes with this sentence how significant the existence of the family. Also, he mentions that family breeds the village, so that the village breeds the state, which is the ideal one.
Philo means love and Sophia... No, tam tersi. Yok, no.
Plato and Aristotle.
These two
Like philosophy derived from Greek and philo means love and... Ya oğlum niye mi takılıyorum?
Today, we will talk about Aristotle and Plato's ideal state. They mention that
Are significantly different from the Aristotle's ideas.
Ne yapıyorsun lan ya?
Oğlum
Allah Allah.
Kafa bekliyorum.
Lan saydık ya geriye.
Tamam.